Got it.
Razavan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm delighted to have with me on Zoom today my man, heavyweight prospect, Fabio Wardley. Fabio, how are we doing?
I'm good. How's things with you, mate? How are we all doing?
I'm good. It's been a while. Normally we're catching up every three odd weeks time, and it's been a few months since we haven't caught up.
Yeah, it's been a little bit quiet on the scene, hasn't it? It's been a little bit quiet, not been too much going on, not been too much to talk about, really. Not been too much going on, but we're back in the mix soon. Fight camp's been announced, so we're almost back there.
I was about to say, you've always got something to talk about.
Well, yeah. You grabbed me at the right time, and I've always got something to go on about.
How you been keeping? Well, settled in well. I know you moved property last time we spoke, but settled in well?
Yeah. So moved, been here about coming up to 3 months or so now. Lovely. Yeah, all settled in, all chilled in. Everything's moving nicely, to be fair. Obviously in training, in camp, just moving along nicely. Everything's just going really well. There's no problems, no issues or nothing. Just moving along nicely, getting everything done, getting all the boxes ticked.
I know you're a man that spends a lot of time in the gym anyway, but since we last spoke, obviously certain restrictions have now eased. You can go and sit in restaurants and stuff like that. So we've been going out much and seeing friends and family and stuff like that.
Yeah. To be fair, I've been making the most of it. I've just been doing where before, because I've been in camp now for about 4 weeks or so. And before that, the restrictions have been dropped off a bit and stuff. So I was out getting food with friends and out just being social really, and just catching up on all the things that we had just kind of missed out on, and just kind of doing anything and everything, even as simple as just going to the park with my mates to play a bit of football or play a bit of tennis or going paddleboarding, something like that. Just been doing stuff just to get out and about, and the weather's been half decent as well lately as well. So yeah, it's been all right.
Well, we are supposedly in our summer, so the weather is supposed to be half decent, at least.
Look out the window and tell me if it's summer right now.
Is it 7th August, Fight Camp, second week? You are back in action. Obviously not going to be that kind of strict bubble that we've had in the last year or so. So it's going to be something similar where you're in kind of the hotels a couple of days in advance, etc. But looking forward to getting back out. Fight Camp 2.0.
Yeah, Fight Camp 2.0. I don't know. I'm one of a few fighters who's going back there for the second time, which is good. Which is a nice little kind of tick off to say I've done it twice. But yeah, they're not doing the full bubble thing again. I think that was something that came from it. There was a weird positive from the kind of whole pandemic and bubble thing, is that everyone really enjoyed the bubbles. As weird as it was to be locked in a confined space with everyone, on the outside it sounded shit and you was like, oh no, what is this going to be? But then once you're actually in there and you're catching up and you're sitting with everyone every day and you're having breakfast and dinner and whatever together, it's actually really good. And you get to actually spend a lot of time with different people and just have conversations with people that you wouldn't normally get to have, because everyone would be off doing their own thing in different places. So yeah, Ed said he kind of wants to keep that element of that fun side of it and keep a little bit of a bubble going. Not a confined one where you have to be there, but at least you've got the option to be. And I think that worked really well. I think it was good.
No, absolutely. I was part of the bubble as well, so I know what you mean when you mean once you're stuck in there, it's actually quite fun. A lot of people build relationships and the games room's fun. And there's certain individuals that keep you in laughter the whole week, as you know.
Yeah.
Fabio, what level of kind of opponent are you now going to be in with now? I know you want to move fast. You're not going to get any younger, but you obviously want to get the right level fight, the right level of experiences to get you and prepare you for those big fights later down the road. So what kind of level of opponent can we expect?
Probably someone on the same kind of level as Molina. Similar level. I'm not trying to go, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to go crazy, but at the same time, I'm not here to just have shit fights and sit and try and fight journeymen or people coming off big loss streaks or whatever else. I'm here to be in a fight that's testing and pushing myself, but also understanding where I am in my career and what point I'm at, that I'm not trying to throw myself into the complete deep end just every time. Even with the Molina fight, if anything, that was maybe a fight or two too soon, but we took the chance, we went through it, we come up on the other end, we got there, so it's fine. Like you tick them one off, and they're the type of challenges that I'm wanting to take. I don't want them easy fights where I can just roll someone over in a round or two and put my hand up and give it the big I am. Like, I understand that I need to learn, and the best way to learn is to go through certain challenges that you're only going to get against quality level opponents. So that's the type of thing we're looking for. At the moment, it's been a little bit difficult to find, but we're still on the hunt and we've still got a bit of time, so it's no problem.
Are there kind of any names out there? Can you 2 or 3 names that potentially in line for this fight?
To be fair, I've not. The thing is, there's been loads of names mentioned. I think Ed quite enjoys it with me, that he'll just say a name and I'll be like, yeah, no problem, no worries. Like, I don't say no. There's never been a name that Eddie has said to me that I've ever said no to. Never. Not when I first started fighting with Matchroom, and not up until now. Never. Because I believe in myself and what I can do, and I don't mind who the opponent is. Like, just as long as it's a good fight and it's right for me in my career at that point, I'm happy to go. I don't like the risk and the challenge comes with the job. I see it as it's an occupational hazard. Like, it comes with it. You should welcome it almost and be willing to challenge yourself. So that's something I'm always wanting to do, and hopefully we get the right opponent for that this time.
We've obviously been in a tough situation the last 12 months with this virus, etc. Has the goalpost moved for you in terms of when you are ready for those big step ups? Has that changed, or do you think you're still on track?
I think the goalposts have moved for everyone. I think everyone's kind of a view and outlook of kind of their career and their trajectory and how they want to aim has been shifted up 2 or 3 levels, and you need to jump a little bit further than you may have needed to jump before, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's good to put people in challenging fights and just put it all on the line. I think we need to get rid of this kind of stigma that comes with a loss defines you or ruins your career or derails you or throws you off. Is that ultimately, if you have a tough fight and you put a good account of yourself in, like, it's on to the next one. You keep moving, you keep going. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, I think I've said numerous times before that I think Chisora is a prime example of that. Is that how many losses he got on his record now? 7, 8, maybe even 9 or whatever. But yet he's always in big fights. He's always headlining. He's still a pay-per-view fighter. Like, he's still in that top echelon of the game because he always puts it on the line. He's always entertaining, and you know what you're going to get from him. So I think as long as you kind of tick those boxes, whatever you do past that is not too much of a big deal.
Obviously, one of the big announcements coming out of this fight camp schedule announcement was Matchroom now working solely with DAZN in the UK. So you will no longer be on my Sky Sports channels in the future. It will only be on DAZN. Eddie has mentioned positives. One, that there's more money now available for fighters. So do you see it as a major positive? Obviously, you're moving on to DAZN, a new platform in the UK. I know it's existed over the last couple of months, but relatively new platform, but also the ability now to earn a lot more as well.
Yeah, of course. The money side is always good. And there's more money on the table now, which is never a bad thing. And I think it's a positive, especially for some of the younger fighters like myself, that we get to grow with DAZN. We get to be the front runners of DAZN, and them guys coming through, and that we get to be the face of it, like you've seen with like Conor Ben and stuff, that they're really pushing him now, and he's on the younger side as well, and he's becoming that new kind of face, that pay-per-view act, that kind of headlining guy. So I think that's a big benefit in itself, that we get to grow with the brand. And as well as, I think DAZN obviously has a large global reach. As much as they are fresh and new to the UK, I think Eddie is already kind of the known go-to guy for boxing in the UK. So his face, and with Matchroom attached to it, already brings a certain amount of eyes on its own. And then add that with DAZN's kind of global reach as well. I think you're halfway home as it is. Like, we're halfway there. So that, plus a bit of a building process and being able to be one of the new faces that go through the years of DAZN's building is all good things, to be honest. It's all good things.
It's going to be a hell of a night, isn't it? Ebony Bridges, Babich, Marku, yourself. Galahad, Jazzatikins.
It's a big night. It's a big night. Fight week 2 is a big night. There's a lot of big personalities in there. There's a lot of like big names in terms of the spectacle of the fight they put on, and it's just going to be, and then that little bubble as well with their mixture of characters is going to be fun and interesting. So I'm looking forward to it, to be fair. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting in the bubble with Alan. Like he's too much fun, man. I love being around him. The guy just like gives me energy. I love him. He's brilliant.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to some announcements in the coming weeks about the opponent, Fabio. But let's talk a little bit about the heavyweight division. A fight that everyone thought was sealed, done. Was it August 14th? Joshua Fury fell apart, and now it looks like Joshua Usyk and looks like Fury Wilde is going to take place. Kind of, what were your thoughts about the fight breaking down? It surprised everybody the way it happened.
Yeah, it did. Because I was one of the ones that was quite confident it was going to happen. Even from the start, I just thought the two sides wanted too much for it not to happen. And then the kind of arbitration ruling just comes out at the last minute and kind of blindsides everyone. So, yeah, it's a shame. It is a big shame, because I think everyone kind of knew it was right on the edge of being announced and getting made and being done, and we were finally going to get it. But I don't think that necessarily means it's never going to happen. I still think it does happen. When is a different question, but I still think both of them come through their respective fights okay, and I think it does get made.
Well, obviously, this week we saw the press conference with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder had his headphones in. He's been very vocal over the last 12 months, and his reasons and excuses on why he lost that fight. But he was very, very quiet the other day. And a lot of people were criticizing because they're like, you've spoken a lot over the last 12 months. You're now in front of the media. You need to now address us and talk to us. But what did you make of his whole demeanor the other day?
I think that whole kind of act or whatever you want to call it, I think that's a product of having Malik in his corner now, of having Malik Scott there. I think Malik will have said to him, look, in the past 2 fights, you've been doing too much. You've been wasting too much unnecessary energy. You've been feeding into him too much. You know what Fury does in terms of or what he tries to do in terms of like mind games and get in your head, and he wants you to engage in those conversations and those back and forths and blah, blah, blah. And I think Malik has got in his face and just said, we're not doing that this time. That's not what we're doing. We're saving all of our energy. We're focusing purely on the boxing, purely on the craft, and we're going to do it this way. And I think that's my thinking. I think that's where that's come from. Knowing Malik, I've spent a lot of time with him, so knowing his kind of mindset and his outlook towards it, I think that's where that's come from, and he's put that in his ear.
I know you said you're hopeful that the fight takes place eventually, the Fury Joshua, but is there a big risk with the coming up fights with Wilder? He's still a devastating puncher. Usyk, I know he hasn't proven himself too much in heavyweight, but we know you get, like Tony Petty has said, you get through rounds 5 and 6, and he can start taking over and being that skillful boxer. So is there that big risk that both fighters could lose?
Yeah, of course. Like, they're competing at the highest level. Like, there's no way to discredit one Usyk's. He's just overall ability. Like, he's an unreal technical boxer. And then again, with Wilder, you know what you're going to get. Like, it could be like the first fight where Fury's pretty much in control of the whole thing, but Wilder just keeps finding a way to land that big right hand and getting him down a couple of times. And maybe there's a time where Fury doesn't get back up. Who knows? But they're always going to be there. That kind of possibility is always going to be there. But I just think on both sides, in the end, they're going to come out okay.
Another fight announced this week, heavyweight division, Joyce versus Joyce-Takam. Obviously, Carlos has been around a while in the UK. He's fought Joshua, fought Derek Chisora here. Good fight for Joyce? Yeah,
really good fight for Joyce, to be honest. Someone who's got quite a bit of world renown, well known, and I think it's not just a good fight for Joyce, but I think it's a good fight for us, to be honest, just everyone, because neither of them will take a backward step. Both of them have really big engines, so it's just going to be a kind of war fest, and it's going to be really interesting to watch, and especially because it will be the first time Joe is having to deal with someone kind of with that style who is a bit smaller and fights a bit smaller as well, and keeps himself very smaller, condensed, and lower down, and trying to figure that problem out and see how he deals with that. So yeah, it'll be an interesting fight, because again, you know what you get with Takam. Like he never comes to just roll over for anyone. He always puts it all in, and he always puts in a good challenge to whoever he's in front of. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on. But I think overall it'll just be a great fight to watch.
I know you must have seen the post on Dylan Whyte's social media accounts about Deontay Wilder's comments. Obviously, he's still there. He still wants that world title shot. Right now, the belts are with Fury and Joshua. If they both respectively win, they'll try to make that fight early, probably next year at some stage. Dylan Whyte, Deontay Wilder is a great fight if it happens, isn't it?
That's one where Wilder would definitely be taking off the headphones, and then press conferences, and that will be loud. They're not ones where he's sitting there quiet at all. And the same for Dil. As much as he's matured as a character over time, and he's kind of built himself into more of a reserved kind of fighter where he doesn't get on those kind of loud, rowdy shout-offs anymore. I think they both bring that out in each other, where there is a genuine distaste and dislike there. And once you're sat across the table from someone like that, I don't think you can help yourself but want to go off on them a bit. So that will always be a great fight, whether it's made now or in however many years or whatever time. Like, it will always be a good fight because you know what you'll get from it. So yeah, fingers crossed it gets made one way or the other.
No, absolutely. Okay, Fabio, if there's anything else you'd like to add towards the end of the interview, or
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm all good. Hey?
Much plan for the rest of the weekend?
Nah, just chilling in training. Just relaxing in training. Gonna see some family tonight. Just catch up, have some food, just do some normal bits, and then up early tomorrow for some Sunday sessions of training.
Do you sit up early?
Well, early for me anyways. I do my stuff in reverse. Like, I'm more than happy to train at 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning, whatever time. I'm more than happy to do that. But you try and get me up 7 a.m., 8 a.m., you got a fight on your hands, boy.
I remember when you had to get up early to get to the bubble to travel to Gibraltar.
Yeah.
You didn't look great.
And all that morning, not happy. I was not happy. I got out of the car, and like Mason shoved the camera straight in my face, and I was like, leave me alone. Like, I'm not dealing with this. It was only like maybe 8:30 or something, and he was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I don't do this. Like, I don't do this early morning. I don't do this conversation this early. I want nothing to do with it. I want nothing. But I'm working on it.
We'll get there.
Some of us just aren't built for that.
IFL TV, thank you very much.
Thank you.